Clara was having her breakfast when she noticed something unusual in her backyard. Between the apple tree and the sunflowers, a curious sight caught her eye. It was a rainbow, but not just any rainbow. This one was bent, twisted, and quite obviously broken. Clara blinked and rubbed her eyes, thinking perhaps it was a trick of the light. But there it was, a colorful arc dangling precariously, its vibrant colors draped like a shawl over the garden. Clara put her spoon down and ran outside to get a closer look. As she approached the peculiar decoration, she heard tiny voices calling out. At first, it was just a mere whisper, like the rustling of leaves. But soon, it became clear. Clara peered into the bands of colors and gasped. Nestled amidst the vibrant hues were little fairies, no taller than her index finger, fluttering around in a state of distress. Oh dear, the rainbow is broken, sighed a tiny fairy with shimmering wings that looked like droplets of morning dew. Can you help us fix it? Another one pleaded, her voice chirpy despite the urgency. Clara crouched down on the grass and nodded enthusiastically. Of course, she said. But how can we mend a rainbow? The fairies flitted around her, bringing her tiny threads made of sunlight and drops of rain, guiding her small hands on how to weave them together. Clara found herself murmuring magical words, enchanted by the presence of such delightful creatures. The fairies sang songs that echoed the rhythm of the universe, and together, they slowly stitched the rainbow back to its arching glory. It was a delicate process, with Clara working carefully, mesmerized by the magical atmosphere surrounding her. After hours that felt like moments, the broken rainbow glowed with renewed brilliance, stretching proudly across the sky. The fairies danced around Clara's head, showering her with sparkles of gratitude. Thank you, they chirped joyfully as the rainbow arched higher into the vast blue sky. Clara beamed with pride, watching the repaired rainbow curve across the horizon. She waved at the fairies as they rode the rainbow into the sky, disappearing behind a fluffy cloud. From that day onward, whenever Clara saw a rainbow, she would remember that magical morning and the littlest friends she'd made. Her heart filled with joy knowing she had helped create a wonder in a world where magic is just around the corner, waiting to be discovered. Once upon a time in a magical forest, there lived a little girl named Clara. Clara was not like other children. She had a special connection with the fairies. One bright morning, as she played with the butterflies in her garden, the fairies whispered in her ear. Clara, they said in their tinkling voices, we need your help. We must collect 3 magical items, a sunbeam, a moonstone, and starlight. Only you can find them all and bring them back to the magical glade. Clara's eyes sparkled with excitement. She loved adventures, especially when she could help her fairy friends. I will find them, she promised. With a skip in her step, she set off on her brave quest. First, Clara decided to look for the sunbeam. She skipped all the way to the mountain's top, where the sun seemed to touch the earth. Using a special crystal given to her by the fairies, she caught the glowing beam within its facets, and the crystal gleamed brightly. Next, Clara journeyed to Moonlight Lake, where moonstones were said to lie beneath the tranquil waters. As night fell, the moonlight shimmered upon the lake. Revealing a path to its hidden treasures, Clara tiptoed across the moonlit water and gently collected a shimmering moonstone. The most challenging item was the starlight. Clara needed to collect starlight from the star tree at the edge of the forest. The star tree was guarded by a wise old owl who had seen the world in its many wonders. To gather starlight, the owl advised, you must be patient and wait for the night sky to weave it into the tree leaves. Clara waited until twilight, and the stars began their gentle dance. She held out a magical jar as tiny beams of starlight twinkled into it, filling it with a silvery glow. With all three magical items safely collected, Clara made her way back to the fairies. The fairies were overjoyed and danced around her in circles. "Thank you, Clara," they said. "You have saved the magic of our glade." And so, Clara's quest was a success, her courage celebrated amongst the realms of the enchanted. Whenever there was a need, the fairies knew where to find their brave friend, Clara the adventurer. In the enchanting village of Lumina, where magic and nature intertwined, lived a spirited young girl named Clara. Clara had a heart full of adventure and a mind sharp as a tack. She was known throughout the village for her courage and insatiable curiosity. One crisp morning, as the golden sun kissed the morning dew, Clara overheard the village elder speaking of three celestial treasures: a sunbeam, nestled on top of Mount Goldmite; a moonstone, hidden by the clever Riddler, Old Man Midnight; and starlight, scattered across the sky, waiting for a dance under the stars. Each treasure held its own magic power to heal, protect, and illuminate. "I must find these treasures," Clara declared, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Think of all the good I can do." And so, her grand adventure began. With her trusty backpack and a heart full of hope, Clara first set off to conquer Mount Goldmite. The journey was steep and rugged, with cliffs that reached high into the sky. As she climbed, the air grew thin and chilly, but Clara's spirit never wavered. At the very summit, she found the elusive sunbeam, glowing brightly and warm to the touch. She carefully captured it in a small glass vial, knowing its light would guide her through darkness. Next, Clara sought the moonstone. Old Man Midnight was known not only for his riddles, but for his fondness of wordplay. Clara approached him, her mind alert and ready. "To see me you must close your eyes. To hear me you must be silent," he challenged. Clara pondered deeply and then whispered the answer: "A dream." The old man chuckled in delight and handed her the moonstone, its surface cool and smooth as it shimmered under the moon's gaze. Finally, Clara prepared for the starlight dance. On a clear night, under the vast, twinkling sky, she twirled and spun with joy. Her movements were graceful and rhythmic, each step inviting the stars to shower their light upon her. As she danced, the starlight wove itself around her, filling her heart with a sense of wonder and peace. With all three treasures in her possession, Clara returned to Lumina as a heroine. The village basked in the warmth of the sunbeam, the protective glow of the moonstone, and the illuminating beauty of the starlight. Clara's bravery and kindness had brought new light to her home, proving that true magic comes from within. Once upon a time, in a world where colors had vanished, a young girl named Clara embarked on a quest to restore them. The vibrant hues of the world had faded one by one, leaving everything bleak and gray. The lively reds, the calming blues, the sunny yellows were all gone. Only the memories of a colorful world lingered, urging Clara to search for a solution. Clara, a curious and brave girl, had heard tales of mystical fairies who could weave colors back into the sky, restoring the beauty of the world. With a heart full of hope, she decided to seek out these fairies, determined to bring happiness back to her home. She packed a small bag with essentials and set off on her journey, venturing through forests and fields where once bright flowers now drooped in shades of gray. After a long trek, she arrived at the edge of the Whispering Woods, where the fairies were said to dwell. The woods whispered secrets and stories, and Clara followed the soothing sounds deeper into the forest. As the sun began to set, casting shadows in the dim light, she finally stumbled upon a hidden glade. There, in a swirl of silvery light, danced the fairies. "Welcome, dear Clara," chimed the leading fairy, her voice as soft as new snow. With wide eyes, Clara explained how the world had lost its colors. She pleaded with the fairies to help bring them back. The fairies nodded, understanding the importance of her request. "To weave the rainbow again," said the fairy leader, "we need certain items from your world to bind the colors together." Without hesitation, Clara offered a joyous red apple, a serene blue feather from a bird, a golden piece of sunlight, and a piece of silver-tinted moonbeam. The fairies took the items and began their magical work, twirling and weaving with an enchanting melody that filled the glade. Bright threads emerged from their tiny hands, stretching across the sky like a giant tapestry. As the fairies worked, the colors slowly returned, washing over the trees, fields, and skies. Reds, blues, yellows, and an entire spectrum danced across the landscape. The world bloomed once more with the vibrancy it had lost. Clara watched in awe as her actions unfolded in a beautiful array of colors that filled everyone's hearts with joy. The fairies cheered, their work complete, as the rainbow arched across the sky, a symbol of hope and renewal. With gratitude, Clara thanked the fairies and returned to her village, where the people rejoiced as colors embraced their world once again. Clara's quest became a cherished story reminding all that hope and courage could indeed bring back the beauty that once seemed lost. Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled between misty hills and whispering woods, there lived a cheerful girl named Clara. Clara had golden hair that sparkled in the sunlight and eyes as bright and curious as shooting stars. She loved exploring the world around her and finding joy in the smallest things, like the delicate patterns on autumn leaves or the gentle hum of the bees. One day, as Clara wandered near the magical whispering woods, she heard laughter, merry but soft like the tinkling of tiny bells. Curious, she followed the sound, her feet gliding silently over the leafy carpet beneath. There, she discovered a gathering of fairies, their wings shimmering like opals and dresses spun from moonlight. "Welcome, Clara," chimed the fairies in unison. "We have watched you and seen the kindness in your heart. To thank you, we gift you something very special, rainbow dust." Clara's eyes widened. "Rainbow dust? What's that?" she asked, trembling with excitement. A fairy stepped forward, holding a silver pouch filled with glimmering dust that danced like sunlight on waves. "Sprinkle this rainbow dust onto ordinary things," she explained, "and watch them transform into extraordinary wonders. Use it wisely to spread joy and happiness everywhere." With the pouch safely in her hands, Clara thanked the fairies with all her heart. As she made her way back to the village, ideas bubbled within her like whispers of the wind. The first thing Clara did was sprinkle rainbow dust on the dull village fountain. The water glittered like emeralds and sapphires, enchanting everyone who passed by. Children laughed and played around it, their eyes lit with wonder. Next, Clara sprinkled the dust upon her mother's garden. The flowers seemed to bloom with renewed vigor, colors more vibrant than ever before. Bees buzzed happily and butterflies danced like little pieces of rainbow. In the evenings, Clara shared stories of magic with her friends by the fireside. She sprinkled a pinch of rainbow dust above them, creating a shimmering canopy of colors that twinkled and sparkled. But Clara was careful not to use too much too quickly, for she understood that magic is most precious when used sparingly and thoughtfully. Step by step, Clara transformed her world with gentle touches of magic, spreading joy wherever she went. And each time she used the rainbow dust, she remembered the fairies' gift and felt grateful for the wonders it brought to her life. From that day, Clara became known as the village's guardian of joy, spreading happiness with each sprinkle of magic dust, reminding everyone that the world is filled with extraordinary beauty waiting to be discovered. And so, in her quiet, magical village, Clara lived happily ever after, her heart forever aglow with the colors of the rainbow.